Welcome to the Skyriminal Order of Men and Myrrh, where the men are men, and the myrrh, well, they can be men too. No Skeevers were harmed in the making of this video.
Hello everybody and welcome to my story. This is a story of a humble thief, a burgeoning member of the Thieves Guild of Skyrim, and one day I found a pet rat. One day I was traveling through the Ratway and I came across this cage. Had a skeever in it. Found the key, let him out. Turns out his name was Scritch. Scritch was kinda cute in his own sort of way, so I figured I'd see if he wanted to come along with me. Turns out that Scritch thought it was a pretty good idea too, so he joined me for a little while. I didn't think it was going to happen this way, but even after leaving Riften, Scritch was still by my side, following me everywhere I went. Like I said, he was cute in his own way, so I fed him and kept him around. Scritch even eventually moved in with me in my house in Whiterun, and this is when the problem started. You see, Scritch liked cheese. Scritch liked cheese. A lot. Scritch liked cheese so much that eventually he asked me to start buying him lots of cheese, which I did. He's one of my best friends. Of course I'm going to hook him up. Eventually, though, I ran out of money, and Scritch, he didn't want to run out of cheese, so he sent me out to go do some dirty stuff. I went off to go and steal cheese from Alvor's house, the guy that took me in after the whole incident at Helgen, long time ago. I felt really dirty, but Scritch needed his cheese. After that, I went to the Riverwood Trader. The guy's wife over there that runs the shop walks all over him, so I figured it wouldn't be a problem to get us some cheese from him. Turns out, wasn't a problem at all. The guy didn't even consider it stealing. It didn't feel right, but Scritch was my best friend, and he just kept coming across my mind. I kept thinking of his face, thinking, what am I going to do if I run out of cheese for Scritch? So I went over to Dragon's Reach and even stole from there. After that, I made a stop off in Solitude at the Winking Skeever and hit a couple of shops before stealing from even more of the rich places in Solitude. Boy, did I find a lot of cheese for Scritch. Vittoria Vici's house was first. She had a wedding coming up, but I didn't care. She wasn't going to need any of that cheese for her wedding, right? It's a good thing I was already a hard and fast member of the Thieves Guild of Skyrim. Otherwise, stealing all this cheese may have felt a little awful. But hey, in the end, I was doing it for Scritch anyway. If the roles were reversed, I'd like to think that Scritch would do the same for me. After clearing out more of the rich houses in Solitude, I even had the balls to go over to the Blue Palace and clear out the cheese from there. Like I said before, I was a hard and fast member of the Thieves Guild, so I figured nobody over here would mind if I grabbed some cheese from the guild and gave it to my pet rat. They did live in the sewers after all. After that, it started to become pretty clear. I had a problem. I didn't have enough cheese, so I needed to hit up everywhere. If there was lots of cheese, I was there. I had to do it for Scritch. I was getting so much cheese, more cheese than I could even carry a couple of times. But hey, it was all worth it every time I came home and saw his little face. I even went through and cleared out Mercer Frey's house, and he was the leader of the Thieves Guild, so you could say I was in pretty deep. Never too deep for this guy though. Love you, Scritch. They say that love can make us do some crazy things, and it's true. I was starting to scare myself with how bold I was getting when it came to stealing cheese for Scritch. Luckily though, my boldness held its bounds within Riften, because I finally got caught by the law. But because, like I said, I was with the guild, they let me off. Luckily. Of course, when it came between following the law or helping out Scritch, I'm going with Scritch. So I went back out there, trying to find any kind of cheese that I could. Didn't matter where it was from, didn't matter at all. Sometimes, though, I would come to a house that didn't have any cheese, and I would trash the place just to send them a message. Get cheese or GTFO. Got to the point where I simply just lost count of how much cheese I was getting. I lost count of how much cheese I was giving to Scritch. He started to change a bit here and there. I started noticing something different about him. One day I came home after a dungeon crawl with Lydia, and Scritch was bigger. All this meant was that he needed more cheese to live. So what did I do? Went out there, got more. From stealing the rest of the cheese from the Thieves Guild Hall to Morthal Keep, all I wanted was cheese. Eventually it got to a point where I really didn't know what to do. I knew I had to do something drastic. I had to try something a little bit unnatural. Speaking of unnatural, one day when I came home again after that, Scritch was even bigger. I didn't know what to do other than just keep going and doing what I was already doing. More unnatural stuff for our buddy Scritch. Like I said from the start, this was the story of a thief. So I got back out there and thiefed my way into as much cheese as anyone would ever think they could find, ever. You know what they say, you do something enough, eventually you get good at it. And then later down the line, you get real good at it. One evening, after a long day of cheese heisting, I was tired. I decided to lay down after storing up a big amount of cheese for Scritch. The next morning, I woke up, and to my horror, Scritch was gone. And also, all that cheese that I stored up for him also was gone. What happened next? You're just gonna have to watch. I never thought that I was gonna come out onto the streets of Whiterun and see my good buddy Scritch this huge, basically the size of a house. Luckily for us though, everybody knew Scritch. They knew that he wasn't a bad guy. He just had a problem with cheese. He liked it too much. Some of the townsfolk thought that I needed to put Scritch down, saying that he was just going to be too much trouble than he's worth. He even talked me into drawing my bow on him, but I just couldn't do it. Scritch was my best good friend, and I had to figure out something. So I went home to think. I even spent some time at home praying. I was willing to do anything. I even prayed to the stars. I prayed to the stars and I pleaded with the gods. Something had to happen. And then it finally hit me. I had to go and talk to those old guys up at High Hrothgar. Maybe they could help. Turns out that those old guys don't really know much, at least not about having pet rats. For a while I felt alone, and that's when it hit me. I wasn't alone. And that is what gave me my answer. Turns out, the whole reason why I hadn't felt alone in so long is because I wasn't alone. Because I had my good buddy Scritch. So that's what happened. Scritch is here to stay, no matter what. I would get him the cheese he needed so he could be with me until the rest of our days. This is what you gotta do when you find good friends. You gotta take the good with the bad and accept them for who they are. Love you, Scritch. Thank you all for listening to my story. If you want to hear more, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon. Keep coming back for more. And be sure to catch the live streams so you can see my antics with Scritch live. Catch you guys soon. Peace out.